Okay everybody, I'm back with the second video of my Zombicide series. There's a couple of rules that I missed in the last one. Firstly, I'm going to show you line of sight. So I use a couple of characters here to show you line of sight. Now here we have Josh and we have a walker. Now Josh can see everything behind him and everything all the way up this corridor, this roadway, because you can see everything in a straight line, so you can see that walker. If the walker was in this building and the door was open, Josh can see this walker. The only way he wouldn't be able to see a walker in a building, apart from the door being shut, I'll just quickly show you here. This door was open and he was outside here. He can only see one room. He can't see into the second room because it would be a bit dark. So he wouldn't be able to see this walker here. But if there was a walker in here, he would. Also with line of sight, if you've got Josh here on the corner and there's a walker there, you cannot see diagonally across. Neither of them can, because the building is obscuring your view. The only way you'd be able to see each other is if one of you moves into slot where you become into view. So that is field of view. The other thing I didn't mention, I didn't quite clarify this, is runners. Now runner zombies, basically they get 2 goes. Remember, on the first phase of a zombie go, is attack straight away. Now Josh is all the way down here, so he cannot attack, so he has to move. He moves and then obviously you do the spawning zone, but because he gets an extra go because he's a runner, he gets to go through it again. So he can't attack because Josh is still too far away, so he can move again one slot nearer. If Josh was here, he couldn't attack because Josh isn't anywhere near him, but he moves. Then it would, because it would go spawning phase, you postpone that, so he can actually nothing to attack, so he moves again. So he's now right in Josh's face. If it was this situation, can't attack because there's no one in the zone, so he'd move. And then his second go, because he starts from the start again, is attacking straight away, so he can actually attack Josh straight away. Now zombies, if they attack someone and they don't kill them, they inflict 1 wound, they can't move again because they're too focused on this figure, so they stay there and they attack, stay there, and that's the end of his go. So that's a runner's go. I know it's probably not 100% clear, but it will become more clear throughout the game. Right, another thing, spawning. Sometimes you'll pick up this card, and what this is telling you when it focuses, there you go, instead of spawning on these spawn spots, what that's saying to you is if you've got these figures in play, that's in this case, they get 1 extra turn. So it'd be like the runners. So just say they've attacked or moved or whatever, they get to do that all over again. So that's a nasty card to have, depending on what colour zone you're in with your skill level. Also, you get this card. It's got a manhole cover on it. And what that's saying is, if for instance you're on the yellow in the skill, you're on yellow, it's telling you 1 runner will be spawned in a manhole on every tile that's got at least 1 character on it. So if I've got a character here, okay, at least 1 character was located on a tile, yeah. So that character, because it's on the same zone, you'd get a runner come up at this one, and because he's on this tile, so see he's also on this tile, you'd get a runner appear there as well. Now if he was here in the middle, because he's actually standing on that zone, and that zone is represented all 4 tiles, that means you'd have runners in virtually all of these manhole covers. You'd get a runner come up, but you will see that in action in the game. I'm sure that will crop up at some point. So that's basically it for the rules. I think just cleared up a few little things. So what we will have to do now is just place these 2 cards further down in the pack. Is we will now proceed with move number 1, the first move, and that is going to be Amy. But before we do that, remember I picked out the fire axe, the crowbar and the pistol, and I've shuffled these all up. I will now deal the first one to Amy, and she has got a pistol, so that's good for her. Doug has got a pan, so that's not very good for him. Now Phil, it says here he already starts with a pistol, so you have to go into the pack and get a pistol out, so he's already got that, and he's also got a fire axe, so he's well armed. Ned is going to get a pan. Wanda also going to get a pan, and that means Josh gets the crowbar. Now remember, you can trade, but only if the characters are in the same square, the same zone. So it might be a good idea for Phil to trade with someone here. But Amy's first, and as you can see there's a counter here. You put this on the first character to go. On the second move, once you've done all these characters and all the zombies are gone, that counter then moves to Doug, so Doug would go first on the second move. So we'll start with Amy, and you see her special ability in the blue. She's got 1 free move action. So what to do? So Amy, she can't open any doors because she hasn't got something that will open doors. So what she's going to do, she's going to take her 3 moves, 3 actions just to move there. She's not going to use her free move action. That's going to be it for Amy. So that's her go over. Pretty boring, huh? Then you've got Doug. Doug's only got a pan, so he can't open a door either. So Doug is going to use his 3 moves, 1, 2, 3, to go and stand up next to Amy. That'll be him over and done with. We've now got Phil. Now Phil has got an axe. He's got Ned, Wanda, Josh with him. So he's going to take his first action is to trade with Ned. He's going to give Ned the fire axe. So Ned now has a decent weapon. So that's one of his actions gone. So he's got 2 more actions to do. So what he's going to do, he's going to move 1 space. He's going to stay there just covering the rear. Next is Ned. Now Ned is a lot happier now because he's actually got an axe. So what Ned is going to do, because he has a free search action, but he's not in any rooms, so he's not going to use it. So what Ned is going to do, he's going to move 1, 2, and his third action, because he's got a fire axe which can open doors, he's going to smash the door open. So the door smashed open, and because it's created noise, put a noise token in there. Now it's quite dangerous because he's right on the spawning zone, and because he's opened the door, we now have to spawn in each of these rooms. So the first thing to do is that room. So we take out a card, and it says 1 walker. So that ain't too bad. So we take a walker and we put him in that room. we now have to spawn in this room. Also another walker. So now we have a little bit of action that could happen on the next phase. So there's now 2 walkers being spawned, and that is the end of Ned's go. We now have Wanda. Now, don't forget, Wanda can move 2 zones, so she can actually move 2 spaces, so she can go 1, 2, and that would only take her 1 go. So this is Wanda, so that's 1 move, so that's one of her actions. Now, there's no point her taking on one of these because she's only got a pan, so she's just going to move into that zone with them, staying out the way. And finally we've got Josh. Now Josh has got slippery, but there's no zombies around, so he doesn't need to slip by. Now Josh has got a crowbar, so if he wanted to, he's going to go 1, 2. So that's his second action. His third action is he's going to go in the room. No, he's not. He's staying there because it would take 4 actions to actually attack the zombie. My mistake. So he's going to stay there and back up Ned. So that is the end of the survivors go. So what we've got to remember is we've got to move this down, because in the next go, when the survivors go, Doug will be the first to go. So now it's zombie phase. Now the first thing the zombies have to do is attack, but there's nobody in the same zone as them, so they just move, and they have to move to either the nearest noise or the nearest person they can see. Well, it doesn't really matter because they're both seen. Now with noise tokens, whenever a character moves, that also creates noise, and you are supposed to throw down another counter to say it's noise, but rather than have all these counters all over the board, you just take it for granted that each character creates noise when they move, and that will come into play later on. I'll show you that when that happens. So the zombies have to move to the nearest point. You've got a zombie there, and this one just moves here. Zombies cannot open doorways. So if you had a doorway there and there was a zombie in that room, he still would have been spawned because you've opened this door, because the noise has made him come out. He wouldn't be able to open the door because he's too thick, so he would just stay there. He wouldn't be able to attack or move or anything until that door was opened. But that very rarely does that happen in the game. So they couldn't attack, so they both moved, and the next thing is to spawn. So we start with this spawning spot. We turn over the card and it says 1 walker. So that walker is now spawned on there, so that's not too bad. We now move on to this one and we spawn. Oh dear, now that is a fatty figure, but because it's got a cross in it, it means it's an abomination. Now this is bad news. This is an abomination. Now this figure is going to be running all around the board until we can find something that's going to kill him, which is the Molotov. So we have to try and keep avoiding him as much as possible. We now go to this one. This is the important one. We do not want a big creature here, and we're lucky it's just a walker. So there's now another walker in there, so you can see it's starting to build up now. And finally that spawning spot, and we have 2 walkers this time. So the zombies are now coming thick and fast. So that completes the complete first round. All the survivors are gone and all the zombies have gone. So we're in a bit of a predicament here. You've got 3 zombies around here, another one up there, you've got 2 coming in from the west, and you've got this big guy here. So you need to get some searching done to try and find gasoline can and a bottle to make a Molotov to get rid of him. If a fatty is spawned, a fatty will always come with 2 walkers, so they're not a very good thing to have either. Luckily none of these can attack until it's their next go, but hopefully, fingers crossed, the survivors will manage to take these guys out before they can attack. But don't forget, the survivors can move away. Well, what I forgot, it's the end of the go now, so the noise token gets taken off. You start afresh. So I think that's pretty much it. Hopefully you've been able to follow that so far. And the next move will be a lot more detail, a lot more going on. Hopefully a bit of combat. Well, there's definitely going to be some combat in the next one, so you'll be able to see how the combat works. So until my next video, playthrough number 2, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.